Thank you all for joining the on-demand session for approvals. Before we jump straight into the approvals app, I wanted to share a little bit about why this app was created. So an approval process is an essential workflow in every organization around the world. And when we started speaking with customers, we heard that organizations today have both structured approvals, which are often managed by 4 to 6 different systems, things like ServiceNow, SAP, and others, and unstructured approvals. So things that are happening within a chat or an email, things like, hey, can I give my customer this discount? Or can I take time off next week? And managing these types of approvals was really hard, and it came with a variety of different challenges. People couldn't see all of the different approvals in one place. There were slow turnaround times. The unstructured approval lacked accountability, compliance, or tracking. And when we heard those customer stories, we saw a huge opportunity to merge this world of structured and unstructured approvals into a single place, right in the collaboration surface where people engage on every day, Microsoft Teams. And so to make this hub a reality, we partnered with our colleagues in Power Automate. Power Automate already has connectors with line of business systems and approval triggers. And we worked with them to bring a purpose-built approvals experience natively into Microsoft Teams. Through this partnership, our approvals app is able to be extensible right out of the box, and it gives users the ability to integrate with their line of business applications. That allows for approvals in Teams to aggregate all of these different systems of record alongside these unstructured approvals that are created right out of the approvals app. Before we dive into the new surfaces in Microsoft 365 that the Approvals app is going to extend to, and the new ways you'll be able to engage with extensibility like APIs, we're going to show you a quick video of 3 key scenarios in the Approvals app today, so you can understand a bit more about what you're actually extending and what are some of the features that you could leverage for your own approvals processes. So the first video is going to show you a pretty standard unstructured approval process.
From project proposals to client agreements, you need these requests approved. Approvals in Microsoft Teams is your hub to request, view, and manage all your approvals, including ones from SharePoint, Power Automate, Microsoft Dynamics 365, and more. In Teams, go to Approvals and select New Approval Request. Add details, then send it out. Approvers can sign off on a request right from a chat. Whether you need a client discount, an expense report, or vacation request approved, manage it all with approvals in Teams.
Now that you've seen a basic approval, our second video is going to show you about our templates feature that would allow you to templatize more recurring approvals for your users.
Discounts, expense reports, vehicle applications, you need to submit multiple approval requests. Wouldn't it be nice to have a blueprint to follow? With approvals in Microsoft Teams, use a template to fill out a request. Templates come with preset fields that structure and organize your request, so your team can quickly respond with the proper context and information, all right from Teams. And if you're a team owner or admin, curate request templates from the Approvals Hub. Select Manage Templates, New Template to customize them. Add a category and template description, form details, specific approvers, then preview and publish. Whether you're on desktop or mobile, view, edit, and manage all your approval requests with approvals in Teams.
And now that you've seen template approvals, we're going to show you eSignature approvals in our third video, with integrations with Adobe Sign and DocuSign.
Need a signature for your approval request? Request one, whether it's from a teammate or an external guest. Select Approvals, and under Request Type, select the drop-down arrow and choose an eSign provider, like Adobe Sign. If you need to, sign in with your Adobe Sign credentials. Type a title and approval request details. And then select Add Attachment, Upload from my computer to attach a file that requires a signature. Enter an email address for anyone who needs to sign or approve it. Set each person's role so they're aware of their responsibility. And if people need to respond in a certain order, toggle on Must Complete an Order. When you're ready, select Send. select View Details to access your request and track approval status from the original chat. As a recipient, you can view and approve your new request in the same chat or from the Approvals Hub. You'll also receive an email from Adobe Sign. Select Review and Sign to respond to it. Or go to the Approvals Hub and view it under Adobe Sign.
All right, now that you all have been able to see a bit of approvals, I'm sure as the pro developers and citizen developers that you are, you probably have a lot of questions on how this actually works, how it can be extended, how it's stored. And so I'm going to cover some of those high-level points before we dive into what's new. So when you're thinking about approvals and you're looking at this application, there are connectors that are built in the application right out of the box. Because this is built with Power Automate, you can create new approval flows via a trigger from a system-driven event from one of the 350 plus connectors that exist today within Power Automate, or you can add your own custom line of business connector. For storage and approvals, depending on the type of approval, approvals are stored in two different ways. The first is for a standard approval, which you saw in that first video. Since approvals leverages Power Platform, those approvals are stored in Dataverse, previously known as CDS, where admins will have full access and can configure policies and manage the approval storage, rollout, and permissions. The second type of approval is the template approval that you saw, and that's stored in a slightly different way. They're stored in two locations. The approval itself, things like the title, approver's description, etc., are stored in Dataverse, just like a standard approval. And the responses in a template approval are stored in Microsoft Forms, which we leverage to create that template experience. Another thing when you're thinking about Approvals app that we've heard a lot of questions about is around data retention. So approvals are set to last forever within each tenant's Dataverse storage. However, the admin of that tenant can change the policy and set a different retention time depending on what you all want to do within your own companies. And then the last piece that I want to quickly touch on before we go into kind of the future stuff is security. So only the requester, the approver, and the global tenant admin can access this approvals data. So it's secure and available to be accessed in the standard ways you might expect given where it's being stored. Now that we've seen a quick intro into what approvals is and how it works, let's talk a bit about what's existing today and what's coming next in the world of extensibility. So what's out of the box today? As you saw, we have the standard approvals, the files, the templates, the e-signatures, and we talked a bit about the fact that you can use those Power Automate connectors to have workflow-driven approvals through Power Automate or bring in a third party or your own custom line of business connector via Power Automate as well. And we have some really exciting new approval scenarios that are coming next. The first of those is approvals across Microsoft 365. What does that mean? So we're taking the really exciting functionality that's in Teams today, and we're extending it to other Microsoft 365 products like Word, Excel, SharePoint, and Outlook, so that users can create, manage, and view approval requests right from within those applications without having to leave that surface. The other exciting thing, which we mentioned in the beginning, is that DocuSign is going to be integrating with approvals so that you can have DocuSign e-signatures alongside the existing Adobe Sign integration that's already there. And then lastly, where we're going to focus some of our rest of our time today is in extensibility, where we're bringing graph APIs and PCF controls for developers like yourselves to be able to extend approvals and bring your own line of business applications into approvals as well. So let's take a closer look at some of these scenarios and how they function within this application. The first scenario we talked about is approvals across Microsoft 365. So in Word, we're going to allow for you to be able to send and manage approval requests for an entire document or just a portion of the document itself. You're never going to have to leave the surface of Word, and you're going to be able to do that right in that canvas. Next, we're going to be having an approvals integration with Excel, where you can do the same thing, where you would be able to send and manage approval requests for either an entire Excel spreadsheet or just a portion of the sheet right within that Excel app. And we're also having approvals right in Outlook, where you can create an approval request within a thread or manage your approvals that you're notified about via Outlook. The next thing we're going to talk about is the extensibility that's coming to approvals. So oftentimes in an approval, you need to chat or remind someone or delegate to someone else, or get broad visibility by doing things like posting to a channel. This is a super complex process, and it gets even more complex as more people get involved. Some of this can be solved via Power Automate, but it's still pretty complicated. And so we're going to be building a lot of that complex workflow logic natively into approvals so that you as a developer will be able to connect your own applications to approvals to leverage all of the feature set that approvals has within your own application, or surface your application right in the approvals hub as well. By using connectors or approvals graph APIs, you can connect your own line of business application or approval workflow directly into the approvals app in Teams. In doing so, you will be able to leverage the approvals tools and features, such as sending a message to people in chat using your own line of business app, but all of that will be powered by approvals in Teams. It will allow you to post within channels, set and send reminders, and be able to keep people informed of changes and updates via notifications and a number of other things. Another way that we're looking at extensibility outside of these graph APIs is in building out components within the Power Apps component framework. So when you are building your own application, as we'll show you in a minute, you will be able to integrate approvals list view, create view, and the approvals details view right into a Power App. And when using these controls, all of your approvals requests will be tagged with that Power App ID, which means that the approvals list view in the app will only show the relevant approval requests that are pertaining to that workload or that experience. All of these are different ways to extend approvals into your workflows and bring your workflows vice versa to leverage the capabilities of the approvals app. Whether you're a pro developer, a citizen developer, or you have no coding experience, you'll be able to get started using the approvals platform capabilities for your workflows and for your systems of record. And all of this will automatically integrate back with the approvals app in Teams. Now we're going to have Aditya walk you through some demos of how this could actually happen.
Thank you, Micajah. And now for the demos. Here we have the Power Apps Maker portal, where we will release the approvals as a PCF control into Power Apps. Power Apps makers, citizens, and pro developers can build applications using the approvals PCF controls along with other collaboration controls. Here we have created an app called the Collaboration Manager for Loans application. In this application, a team of loan officers and managers can collaborate on a set of loans using the collaboration controls in the application. In this app, Eric, a loan officer, can view all the active loans the team is currently working on. Going to one of these loan applications, Eric has access to the various collaboration controls that have been included in this application. By clicking the Approvals tab, Eric can send an approval request from the loan application to his manager, Krista. Krista can later view the approval from the Approvals hub in Teams and approve the request from there. Once Eric's manager, Krista, has approved Eric's approval, Eric can also view the approval from the Approvals app in Teams. After the approval has been approved by both Eric and Krista, the state of the approval in the loan application has now turned to approved. We are also bringing Graph APIs for basic approvals with Power Automate as a backend and CDS as storage. We will be launching Create, Read, Cancel, and Response APIs of approvals in our first release for Graph. Using these APIs, you can connect approvals directly to your workflows and tools. Here is a demo of the Graph API's payloads in Postman. The API is the Get Approval API to get details of the approval. The payload has details about the state, title, creation dates, etc. This screen shows the approval rendered in the Teams approval application. And here is an example payload of the list API in Postman. Now back to you, Micajah.
Thanks, Aditya. So what else is next for approvals? Not only are we working on these key integrations with Graph APIs Microsoft Office, DocuSign, PCF controls. We're also bringing new features to the existing approval apps, which via the extensibility that we just showed you, you would be able to take advantage of as well. These new features include things like data export, which is going to allow for users, team owners, and admins to export their approval data from specific time periods to meet compliance needs, or to just visualize the workflows that are happening in the team. We're also introducing sequential approvals, which will allow for an approval process to follow a specific order of approvers, as well as introducing approvals in Viva Connections, where you can pin the approvals application to the homepage to make it easier for users to find and manage their approval requests. And as you can see on the slide, much, much more. So thank you all for listening. Please check out the on-demand session for building collaborative apps with the new Microsoft 365 and Teams collaboration controls. That'll do even more and talk even more about what's happening with PCFs that are coming at the intersection of Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. And please, please, please take the time to check out our survey and let us know about the extensibility features and experiences that you're looking for and that you would like to develop. Thank you again, and we hope you have a great rest of your Build conference.